one scary portion of this interview was, if you noticed, throughout the interview, Mike Huckabee would push back on a lot of things. He pushed back on nearly everything, except for one of them very specifically. And that's where Tucker said that we were about to go to war with Iran. Huckabee did not push back and say, well, I don't know. We're doing negotiations right now. Maybe Iran's going to capitulate. Maybe we're not going to have a war with Iran. Huckabee just, it's already a conclusion that this is going to happen.
Why do we have war?
We're about to have one with Iran, it looks like. How many Americans do you think will die in that war?
I hope none. None died last year when we participated in the 12-day war. Not one.
My sense
you said 20,000 would die, and they didn't.
I said could, and they could have. And they could die now, and that's a real risk.
Didn't push back on that at all. He's like, how many are going to die in this war? I hope none. No, what war? There's not a war right now. We're negotiating with them. We're trying to make sure a war doesn't happen. Didn't hear that at all. It's just like, yep, we're about to have a war. Someone's already told me that's what's going to happen.
Hopefully nobody dies.
Yeah, I hope none of them die.
In fact, we already had a war with Iran last year.
So I'm going to play this other clip, and this one was the initial clip that bothered me. And it's where Tucker asked him about if it matters what the American people think, and then asked him if he knows how many Americans support war with Iran. And so once again, this is really the thing that bothers me. And it's going to get to something that like Thomas Massie is trying to get pushed through right now, which is a war powers resolution in Congress to try and stop Trump from doing this.
The do nothing congressman.
The do nothing. He's trying to get that through right now. And I believe that's with Ro Khanna, and they've got some people to sign on. But what you'll find is this can be much harder than like the Epstein files, because there's people on both sides. Most people on both sides are just fine.
They love that war
with us
baby.
doing this war. They're totally fine with it. And
they love sending your kids overseas.
Yeah, it's one of their favorite things to do because it helps them get more political donations.
And their kids don't have to go.
How much does it matter what Americans think?
Well, it matters every bit what Americans think. That's why Americans vote. It's why Americans have the opportunity to have free speech. We want them to have that.
Okay, so what percentage of Americans support a war with Iran?
I don't know. Do you know?
I do. I think it's around, I saw the numbers yesterday. I think it was like 21%.
Okay.
Is that enough to have a war with Iran?
We don't live in a world where you have a poll taken to find out whether our policy should be a particular direction. Because
I thought you just said that
that's
we
direct democracy. No, we care deeply about it. But on the other hand, do we make the decisions of foreign policy and even domestic policy based on
we
what
care
the
deeply
latest
about
poll
it in
number
what
is?
sense? If we're ignoring it, then in what sense do we, quote, care deeply about it?
Well, I think we care deeply when we see there's a threat.
No, but about Americans' opinions. So you've got 350 million Americans. Yeah. They voted in this last election on the basis, in part, of the promise no more wars. Okay, so now we're about to have a war, looks like. 80% of people are against it, in that range, let's say 70%, but nowhere near majority support for this war. And it's not direct democracy, but it is a form of democracy. It's representative democracy.
The ultimate form of democracy in our system, in a republic, because we're not a true democracy, we're a republic.
Exactly, right? It's a mediated democracy.
It'll be an opportunity for Americans to vote if they think that we've made the wrong policy decisions. I personally think the president is making the right policy decisions.
But I guess, but you just said...
What just infuriates me about this, and Tucker really doesn't even go to this thing, is we've totally forgot about this whole thing that Congress is supposed to do this. Like when he talks about, well, we don't make those decisions based on polls. There is a way that we make the decision.
Representatives of the people.
Every 2 years, the people vote for representatives to go from their districts to Washington to vote on these kinds of things. And no, it's not direct democracy. It's a representative republic, but that is what they are supposed to do. And so if only 21% of the American people, this is one poll, it's a poll of 1,000 people, but they're supposed to send their representatives, and their representatives are supposed to represent them, not the people who fund their campaigns, not people from other foreign governments and what they want at all. They're supposed to represent the people in their district. And that's not happening. And we're not even talking about that. And like, I'm not really blaming Tucker here. I just find it super weird that just doesn't even get brought up. And Huckabee is like, well, they're going to have the opportunity to vote again in the election coming up. Like, this idea is you decide whether or not you want the president to decide to take us into war. Like, well, if they don't like what Trump's doing, and I think he's making a smart decision on this, is what Huckabee's saying. Well, if they don't like it, then they're going to vote in the next election to put a different president in power who's also going to promise to not have any new wars, and then they can decide to do new wars after that too. That'll be fine. No one talking about the way that our government is actually set up, because our representatives are supposed to make this decision. It costs a lot of money. It costs people's lives. And they act like it's not our military, like the American people's military. It's like the U.S. government's military, like that's a separate entity,
the president,
all to its own.
The president and the administration can just make the decision.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever, it doesn't matter what the public opinion is. And that's kind of the way we've operated since the Iraq War.
We've operated like that for a long time.
Well, I'm just saying in our recent, like in our lifetimes.
Yeah. It's just like a normal thing. We don't even think about it anymore because Congress... I mean, we got an authorization of use of military force for Iraq and for the terror wars. And so there was technically an authorization from Congress. It wasn't a declaration, but it does fit in the War Powers Act from 1974,
but
whatever it was, to get that authorization.
What's funny is one of the ways that Trump won the 2016 presidency was the fact that he said that he thought Iraq was not a good idea.
It was a mistake.
And he also said that we should bring our troops home. That he would have them out of Afghanistan.
I'm pretty sure no new wars was a pretty big thing for this election too.
Yeah.
But let me play the rest of the clip, see if we get anything else out of this.
Americans think, and if the overwhelming majority are against it, in what sense does it matter? Because what I hear is it matters what they think, but it really doesn't matter what they think because...
No, you take it in, you certainly ingest that.
And then what do you do with it once you ingest it?
Then you make sure that you have... No,
you just gotta... It goes out the other end, obviously.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't, Tucker. But you also have information that the average American may not have. They may not know what the threat is.
Stupid.
How many Americans know that Hezbollah is in 12 Western Hemisphere countries?
That's the other thing, too. It's always this information that we don't have, this national security information that it's so awful we just can't be told. But trust us. Like we're gonna do it, which is also another reason that they're supposed to give Congress briefings on this, and then Congress can still vote on this. That's where the authorization for war comes from. Not because the president's national security advisor told them that there's something, and there's not. No one can tell me what the thing is. We've now fallen back on this idea, maybe it's the nukes. I thought we already took care of that.
With precision.
Apparently not. Apparently we bought ourselves about 6 months, 7 months, and now it's a big deal again. Or the other thing we're falling back on is they're killing thousands of their own people. Thousands of protesters in the streets.
With chemical bullets.
and so now we're supposed to do it. And I'm like, I feel bad for people that are legitimately protesting their government and want something else, but that is still not an explanation for why it is my job to go to work today and have a portion of my money taken from me under threat of imprisonment to go and help you in your situation with your government on the other side of the world. There's, you know how many other governments there are also? We said this last time we talked about this. Why is it always on us to do this? Why is it your job to work and pay taxes to help these poor, however many Iranians got killed in the streets? What does that have to do with your safety and your security here in America?
You want to know the real reason? I could tell you. I guess it's speculative, but
yeah.
I could tell you. It's because Israel's a very large donor to Trump.
Yeah.
And Iran is on Israel's list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's the thing. You don't want to be on Israel's list.
I see you've been listening to Nick Fuentes again.
They will.
Yeah.
They will find Big Brother to whack you over the head.
All right, here's a little bit more.
How many Americans know that Hezbollah is in 12 Western Hemisphere countries?
How many Americans care?
Well, I would hope they would all care. How many Americans know how many people from Iran, from terrorist cells, have come across Joe Biden's open border? How many Americans care about that?
Now, okay, on this point, how many Americans know how many Iranian terrorist people have come across the border? What does us going and starting a war with Iran have to do with the people who already came across our border?
We should find them.
They're already here. We should find those people, identify them, and arrest them, and send them back to their country or put them in prison or whatever it is that you do with it. Send them to Guantanamo. whatever
you were
it
going
is
to
you do
say,
with
and
those
torture
people.
them.
Yeah.
Until they give us the information we need about
whatever
Iran.
it is, whatever it is you do with those kind of people.
I mean, I disagree with that part.
But what does that have to do with us going to war with Iran right now? The border's closed, I thought. No one's coming across the border illegal anymore. We're not going to start a war, and that's retroactively going to make all the people that are already here disappear. They're not going to explode unintentionally because we start a war with Iran right now. They're already here. That's not an excuse at all. In fact, I mean, not that I want those people to be holding us hostage, but I'm like, that probably makes those people more dangerous because they'll be kind of pissed when we go do this thing, kind of set them off, literally.
Yeah.
And so
maybe part of their plan is waiting for the U.S. to strike.
That might be their whole thing.
They execute their terrorist plot inside the United States.
Could be the case. Here's a little bit more
about that.
Okay,
why haven't they been rounded up?
But they're trying. But you got all these blue state mayors and governors making it very difficult.
I get it.
But thank God President Trump is trying to get it done.
Look, I'm totally all for that completely.
Okay.
I guess what I'm saying is that most Americans, I've never met an American who thinks, other than like the people who have ideological reasons to pretend they think it, that the imminent threat to America is anything having to do with Iran. The imminent threats to America include like bankruptcy from too much debt, your son ODing on fentanyl, your neighborhood completely changing because unlike Israel, Americans don't have a right to their country. It can just be completely changed by their legislature. New people can show up from foreign countries and not speak your language, and there's nothing you can do about it because you don't have a right because you're not Bibi. Can you feel the resentment? Because it's real. I'm not against Israel. I'm against the total destruction.
You hide that very well.
I'm mad at my lawmakers for not protecting my country with the care they've protected Israel.
So I did want to talk about this poll. I did see something pretty interesting, and it comes from the University of Maryland. It's a poll of 1,000 people. You know how we feel about polls. I think it's like a decent general gauge. I think a lot of times the margin for error is often a lot bigger than what they present. But when you have like an overwhelming show on one side or the other, I think it can be pretty important. Now, when it comes to, do you favor or oppose the United States initiating an attack on Iran under the current circumstances? So favor, this is the number Tucker was talking about, is 21%. Now, it's not that the rest of them oppose it. The number for oppose is 49%, and other people say, I don't know. And of course, this breaks down.
They don't care.
Yeah. This breaks down on party lines. I actually respect those I don't know people, like that's, if you don't know, that's fine. Say, although I think a better default position when you don't know about whether or not the government should do something is to oppose it until you know. I think that's always a better default position. This breaks down on political party lines. Of course, 40% of Republicans, that's still less than half of Republicans, according to this poll, that are in favor of us initiating an attack on Iran. But it's 40%. It's 6% for Democrats, of course, because it's Trump that wants to do the thing. If it were a Democrat president, it'd probably be completely flipped. Republicans would be anti-war, no new wars, not going to go to war for a foreign country, and the Democrats would be talking about the women not being able to show their faces in Iran or something like that.
Or drive.
Whatever the thing is that they can or can't do in Iran, and that we needed to go to war for that reason. Now, here's an interesting fact. 40% of Republicans favor this, initiating an attack. When it asked the question, whose interests do you think would be most advanced by a war between the U.S.? Like, who is this for? Who does this help? Only 34% of the Republicans think it would be to advance U.S. interests. Now, 40% of them favor the war, and 34% of them think it's to advance U.S. interests. And so they're not even really hiding it. They're like, yeah, I think we should do it in order to either help Israel or the interests of the Iranian people. But then the bigger thing...
Yeah, 31% interest of Israeli interests and interests of the Iranian people, if you combine the 20 and 11 there.
Other people other than us. And we're going to pay for it. We're going to be forced to pay for it. And there could be, potentially, we don't know how this is going to go or even if it's going to go, could potentially be American lives that get lost in this kind of thing. What the Trump administration really has to pay attention to, now he's not running for re-election, but Republicans are still trying to get elected in the next election. Under the I don't know whose interests would be advanced, that's like a big stack over here on this poll. I don't know what this is for. Overall, 33% of the people said, I don't know who this is for. Independents, 36% of them said, I don't know. That's more than independents thought it would be for U.S. interests. Really big stack over here of people basically just saying, I don't know. And that's not good. And I can't get the question answered either.
So is this America first or not? And everyone's saying, I don't know.
Even Republicans are not saying it's America first. Even the ones who favor it in this poll are not even saying, yeah, because this is America first. So what's it for? Let me tell you why we're going to do this. And this is the most vague statement.
Oh,
I'll play the clip.
Before we went over there were red lines. Zero enrichment. We have to have the material back. You know, they say that it's all about their civil program, and yet they've been enriching well beyond the number that you need for civil nuclear. It's up to 60%. They're probably a week away from having industrial grade bomb making material, and that's really dangerous. So we can't.
So
just a week away, man.
Now we have re-entered the phase where Iran is a week away, and that's bad news for Iran. It's probably news to them first off, and that's bad news for Iran that they're only a week away from industrial grade bomb making material. And when I read that, because in the news article about it, they don't even really talk about enrichment that much. I'm like, what does that mean? Well, they got like an industrial grade soldering iron showing up in the mail next week. Like they're a week away from that happening.
If we took out the centrifuges, how are they even making progress on enriching the uranium?
I don't guess we got all of them is the issue.
They have some hidden ones that Steve found. We got to go even further. We didn't go far enough last time. Or the other answer is that's just total. Like that's the other potential answer in that scenario. Yeah, I just think this is ridiculous, and it's yet another sign that we're going to do something. Because once you say, because we got to do something.
Yeah, you have to. Because once you say, you put it out there, they're a week away from a bomb again or something like that. Whatever the vague statement is here.
Call Jack Bauer.
I mean, you got to do it. What do you're going to say they're a week away and then go home? You're going to turn your boats around and go home after that? And so no, I don't think so. Thomas, Massie, and Ro Khanna are trying to get a discharge petition through right now. Massie started this last year when all this stuff was happening, and they're trying to get the discharge petition through, to force a vote to try and stop Trump from doing this, because the freaking president does not have the authority to do this. And that is the most disappointing thing that we keep seeing from all these small government people, are the powers that they'll decide to give to their guy. And they're just fine with it. And of course, they'll hate people. Massie as an example right now, they hate Massie for trying to do this sort of thing just because he hates Trump or whatever. And things will just keep going on the way that they've been going on. I thought things were supposed to change, but that doesn't seem to be the case right now.
Yeah, this is great. It really is.
Yeah.
But what's the Dow?
It's probably down today.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not good.
Other stuff was down today. I haven't looked at the Dow specifically.
What we've been talking about is good, but this whole time I'm thinking about the Dow.
Yeah, I mean, that's the important part, for sure. Definitely the important part.
Did the Dow stonk off my phone.
Mm-hmm.
I should put it back.
Yeah, I didn't want to see that. Now it's up. You should put it back on there, though. There's a couple things from the War Powers resolution. Like, people make the argument that, of course, Article 2 of the Constitution gives the president the power and authority to do this. And that's ridiculous. Just plainly stating that the president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces is not the same as a statement saying, and also he can get them to go do stuff anywhere in the world for any reason that he wants anytime. That's not what that says. It says when they're engaged, who's in command, who has the ultimate say-so over what they're doing. And that's president. After
war has been declared.
War has been declared, of course. And Article 1 is before Article 2. And that's where it says Congress has the power to declare war.
I think that's right.
Yeah. I did. Yeah, that's the I had to ask Claude about it, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. In the War Powers Act, it's kind of been, there's sort of this idea that, well, we got this War Powers Act, and that means it's different from what it used to be. The president can send people into harm's way. He can initiate force and can put the troops into combat. And as long as he notifies Congress within 2 days, he's got 60 days where he can basically do whatever he wants. Now, that's ridiculous, first off, but you wouldn't put it past people in the 70s to write that in the law, right? I mean, that sort of sounds like something that people would have written in the law, but it's actually not. It says at the end that, let me see, nothing in this resolution shall be construed as granting any authority to the president with respect to the introduction of United States Armed Forces into hostilities or in the situations where involvement in hostilities is clearly indicated by the circumstances, which authority he would not have had in the absence of this joint resolution, meaning it does not give him new powers. The whole thing was meant to be a limiting factor on the president's ability to do this, but it doesn't give him new powers that now all of a sudden he can go and just declare war on his own and send the troops into combat. It still needs to be for specific reasons that those troops are introduced into combat. And we fulfilled none of them. Like we're spinning up the nuke thing again because that's the only way they can possibly make the case that there's somehow a danger to us, even though they don't have the ability to fire those nukes.
Well, it's all those it's all those Iranian immigrants who came across Joe Biden's border.
Yes, of course. They brought the nukes with them already, or they're...
Well, I'm just saying that's the emergency.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So if you do this, those people are going to dissolve?
What's interesting is the law does give clarification on this, because in Section 2C, it says purpose and policy. The constitutional powers of the president as commander-in-chief to introduce the U.S. Armed Forces into hostilities or into situations where imminent involvement in hostilities is clearly indicated by the circumstances are exercised only pursuant to 1, a declaration of war, 2, specific statutory authorization,
AUMF,
use of authorized military force, or 3, a national emergency created by an attack upon the United States. I mean, is an invasion across Joe Biden's border, is that an attack?
I mean, the attack occurred in 2022. But...
So an attack on the United States, its territories or possessions, or its armed forces.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is this just we've been planning to retaliate against?
That's what it is.
Iran
it took us this long to do it.
Bombing the airfield?
I don't know how to talk.
They bombed that airfield, remember, last year?
Yeah. They did. And after we bombed them, yeah.
That put U.S. troops in harm's way.
They did. They were in harm's way.
And we've just been waiting for the right moment to protect the troops.
How do you talk to people about this? That's my issue. Because all this stuff, this is so boring. My God, you've almost fallen asleep 4 times during this episode.
I've had to yawn a few times. I needed
I don't even want to be here anymore. How do you talk to people about this? That on one hand will talk about the Constitution and the Founding Fathers and how great America is, and on the other will say the president can do whatever the hell he wants as long as it's the guy I voted for.
We got to.
What do you say to those people?
There's a better way. There's a right way.
Yeah, but the problem is, Democrats, when they get in office, they're going to do whatever they want. And so if you don't take the opportunity to do whatever you want, then you're just putting yourself at a disadvantage.
I think you have to look at history, and I think Tucker did a good job bringing Ron Paul on last week when Ron Paul predicted all of the things that have happened over the last 40 years.
It was like a month ago, I think he had Ron Paul on.
It was a month ago.
Yeah. Last week, month ago.
Yeah, I mean, Ron Paul predicted a lot of what has happened over the last 40 years. It goes back further than his 2002 speech or whatever Tucker was using. It actually goes back to the 70s and 80s when Ron Paul was talking about some of this stuff when it comes to money, the Fed, wars, all sorts of things. And so I think you have to look at history and realize that there's a better way, because even though The government can make a decent case for war, and you want to see your enemies destroyed. I get that. You have to ask yourself one of those poll questions, which is, whose interest does it serve? Is it in America's best interest to go to war with Iran? And analyzing the historical record and what's happening currently today, the answer is no. How does that forward MAGA? How does that put America first? Are your grocery prices getting cheaper? Is rent prices coming down? Are homes getting cheaper and more available to purchase? And the answer to that is no. And we should go to war with Iran. Because what? Is that going to bring home prices down? Is that going to bring energy costs down? No, it's going to make it worse. So not only is it not America first, it puts America in a worse position.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have to borrow money. By the way, we don't have any money. So we're going to have to borrow more money for a bigger war, probably the biggest war in the Middle East we've ever fought, ever. I mean, Iran has like
depending on how they go,
people.
90 million people.
90 million people?
92, I think, is the number.
Yeah. What's our strategy to win there? We couldn't even do it with smaller countries.
It's so confusing.
We couldn't fight the farmers and goats in Afghanistan.
And those were tough fighting goats, too.
Yeah. You saw their videos, their training videos with the monkey bars.
We can all see the video right now.
Yeah.
We've seen the same, and we've probably seen that same video 1,000 times.
And we couldn't beat those guys. What are you gonna do? What are we gonna do with Iran? Sure, we snatched up Maduro. Cool. Yeah, kind of cool, I guess. It's cool. The operation was cool. I'm not saying that's what we should have done, but it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Nate and I have talked for years about, look, if you're going to do something like this, like, you can go in and snatch one guy. Don't we have like SEAL Team 6 and, people that are even better than that? Like the elite of the elite forces out there who can run reconnaissance missions, who can strategically navigate and kidnap someone. Well, we did that with Venezuela. What is a war going to do for you? Besides make you feel patriotic.
It's going to make you feel good.
Because I get that. Like, yeah, look at these big American bombs, man. Ain't nobody can touch us. You see that, man? Hold my beer. Rewind that.
Hockey and war. That's what America does.
We want to be three-peats. Back-to-back World War champions. We want to have a three-peat. We win gold 3 times in hockey. I say we win 3 world wars. Well, that's all it does for you. It doesn't help you in any other way besides make you feel good and patriotic.
I'll take your submissions in the Fed Haters Club, join@gmail.com, and on YouTube, also X, on how you explain the people or how you can possibly get through the people. Because, in the last week, I've basically been called like a monster because, like, well, how many protesters dead in Iran is enough to make you want to do something? And I was like, there's no number I can put on that. I don't care. Okay, that's harsh or whatever. Like, there is no number that you can put on that suddenly triggers a new provision in the Constitution that says that we can just start dropping bombs on the country.
Yeah, why are we the police? Why is America the policeman of the world?
To protect the dollar.
Well, exactly.
Your actual answer.
I always go back to, I think it was Ron Paul's 2008 or 2012, his debate. When asked about this, he even said that, like, who made us the policemen of the world? Why? Why do we have to go around doing this? In large part, it works against us.
Oh, it definitely does.
It makes it worse. And I'm not condoning what they're doing over there. I think I advocate for a better life for human beings all across the world, and I don't agree with what they're doing. But why we have to put ourselves in a place of a detriment to attempt something to try to help people into a better situation, but the method that we're using to help them is to kill a lot of them.
Yeah.
In the name of help.
Yeah.
In the name of like, we're the world police. That's just, it doesn't add up. It makes no sense.
I'm sure this time they're going to get it right, though.
Yeah, this time.
Because Trump's really, really good at this stuff. And just to be clear, we don't know for sure they're even going to do anything. And they might have some kind of cool trick we've never seen before that they're going to try and do. And it could be over in 3 hours, and we'll all look ridiculous afterwards. And if they are going to do something, I hope that's the avenue they go down. But this is a big country. There's a lot of different factions in the country. It's not obvious, even if you just take out the leadership, that all of a sudden there's going to be peace and harmony, you know, that's what's going to happen in the country afterwards. It could get much worse, like Syria or Libya, something like that. There's a good chance it would go down that road. And it's just not something we should be involved in. And if we are going to do it, what I prefer is that the people's representatives decide to vote for it and put them on the record. And if they want to vote in favor of it, that's on them. But at least they vote in favor of it, and they're on the record. And then luckily they have elections every 2 years, and that will be decided again by the people in their district that they're representing. That's the way it's supposed to work. It can't be based on who the president is.
It's the whole reason that our founders put the exclusive power to declare war and fund it, by the way, solely with Congress, because they could only do it for a period of 2 years. And if the people didn't like it, all of those people would lose in the next election. And then the next Congress would vote to end it. And that is why that power was very specifically entrusted to the people's representatives, so that people had a voice in war, and perpetual war could not play out, which leads to loss of liberty. And the founders were explicit in the Federalist Papers about this.
And we found a way around it. And honestly, I'm going to not even put this on the people in the government. I'm going to, once again, I'm putting it on the people. If the people woke up tomorrow and decided that they wanted no more of these wars, truly, if they decided that they didn't want it anymore, they could vote for people that weren't going to do that. They decide that it's important enough for them to not have the other party in power, to make sure they keep keeping these people in power. And that's sort of the hostage situation that the government and the two-party / uniparty system has us in right now. Is no matter how terrible this party is, you must always be afraid of the people in the other party. They're way worse, and you don't want them to ever have any control, because, think about what they would do. That'd be awful. And so you just allow these people in the party you support to just get away with doing terrible things all the time. But if the people in Congress want to keep their jobs, that's their number one thing. They get elected every 2 years. Even if they thought that they lose their jobs because they didn't vote for this discharge petition that Massie is putting around so we can have a vote, a war powers resolution vote, even if they thought they'd lose their jobs because of that, they'd sign the discharge petition and they'd vote on that thing. But they're not going to lose their jobs because of that. It's not going to happen. The people have decided to just give this power to the president because it's easier. It's the people that have allowed this to happen. Like, the people in the government actually do it. They take the steps, they take the actions to do it. But it's the people in America that have decided to get lazy on this whole thing and just push it all off to whoever won the election a few years ago. I don't want to talk about it. There's a game on or something like that. The government will clearly just run amok if you don't pay attention and stay vigilant. They will always want to continue increasing their power. You got to stay on top of them all the time. You can't become complacent. They will take that moment to grab even more power afterwards. So it's on us, it's on you listening, and it's on your friends and family to all realize that the people can't stop this if they want. It doesn't even take a revolution. Like, if everyone decided that that person is not going to win, not going to happen, that'd be the case come November this year.
That's the dream.
It's not going to be, because it's hard.